Welcome to a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda.
Well, good morning, everyone. If you'll please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good morning. This is the Board of Commissioners meeting for July 30th, already the last day, or July 31st, the last day in July. Where did the month go? Where does the time go? Our inspirational word: you must make allowances for each other's faults and forgive the person who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Okay. We have our dog this morning.
You need the mic?
He's so pretty.
Ovulated today, huh?
Good morning. This is kennel number 31, 6-month-old female found in Lorraine, is available for adoption now. She's in kennel number 31. We have 23 other dogs in the kennel, so we picked up 12 or 13 in one day, so do need some help. Thanks.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Thank you.
12 or 13 in one day.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, if it's okay with you, I think we'll just do the proclamation
That's fine.
first.
Proclaim the month of August as Child Support Enforcement Agency Awareness Month.
I'd like to come forward. We have a proclamation for you.
That's Rula.
Yeah.
Hi,
You'll just,
Rula.
Hi there.
Hi, Rula. You'll just introduce yourself to the audience at home.
Thank you, Commissioners, for having me here today. I'm Rula Raphael, the Administrator of the Child Support Enforcement Agency, and thank you for proclaiming August as Child Support Awareness Month. The last 12 months have been a year of many changes that the agency and its staff have undergone. We appreciate all of the training opportunities that the Commissioners have graciously allowed us to attend, and we have diligently prepared, planned, and executed very well all of the changes in the law in the world of child support that we went through this year, as well as state rollouts that went statewide to all county agencies. Our staff did very well. For the first time in the last 12 months, we were recognized for our higher achievement, most improved, superior performance in both collection of child support for our county as well as the establishment of support. So I'm very proud of them and all the work that they've been doing, as well as adapting well to all the changes too. And we wanted to share that with you, as well as what we're doing this month to spread awareness of child support. The staff of both JFS and CSEA have raised about 40 book bags now, backpacks filled with school supplies for children of our community that are in the child support program. We give those all away in the month of August. We also do a program called Amnesty, which I'm sure you've heard of, where with parents that have their license suspended, we allow them to pay a smaller amount in order to get that back, but it's an additional support amount to their monthly obligation that goes to those custodial families and to help those kiddos that are preparing to go back to school. So that additional income does make a big difference, and we have great success with that program, and then our outreach with giving away those backpacks. So we are very proud of doing that, and thank you so much for your support, and again for proclaiming August as Child Support Awareness Month. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, oftentimes that child support in a single parent household is so vital. So the work you're doing is oftentimes it's groceries, it's food, it's lights, it's water. So to hear those improved statistics is really heartwarming. Thank you.
Could you update us on, I guess the thing I've always had concerns about is I never understood why we take away somebody's driving privileges if they owed child support. Where's that all stand right now?
It is an administrative enforcement tool that every county in the entire state, every CSCA county uses. And that is to motivate the absent parents that are falling behind. It's usually 3 months behind in their child support, and they're not contacting us, or they're not, maybe if they're not, they may be employed, but we don't know where they're employed. And so that's a tool. We send them a notice letter. Before we even take the action to suspend, we are in constant communication to try to get to them to say, hey, you know, need to pay up your monthly obligation. This, you know, obviously it's to the benefit of the children and families that need that financial support. And so, and then it comes to, you know, down if we have to end up doing a suspension, we do, but we also give them the opportunity. We avoid doing it if they're able to find new employment. We verify employment, they don't get suspended. If they are ultimately suspended, we give them a chance to redeem that back to get it reinstated by paying 2 months worth of child support. And then again, there's a delay process before we'd ever even look at doing that again for them. So in order to get them back on to help them get back on their feet. And there's Seek Work programs that we have, which helps them to aligned with Ohio Means Jobs to help them find work, to go through a local program called Passages as well to help them to get the skills they need to find employment so that they're back on their feet paying their monthly obligation or even being eligible for a modification of that support so they don't end up being faced with a driver's license suspension. So we have all these tools in place that we utilize.
Yeah, I just could never figure that one out because, you know, how can you pay if you can't get to work? I would assume there's cases where they get limited driving privileges just to go to work.
Yes, they are able to. That's true. From our courts, they're able to go in there in front of our magistrates, and they'll hear their cause if they need driving privileges, you know, for medical or school. If they're in school, we don't typically suspend. We give them a grace period for that as well. So there are some, every case by case, obviously, circumstances, what's going on.
Doesn't that also serve as a deterrent for those who are not reporting that they're employed?
Correct.
So I think there's both sides of that.
We take it very seriously. You know, we're not just like flipping a switch or anything like that. There's many steps, internal policies that are followed, and that the staff are held to make sure, because that is, you know, obviously, a very powerful deterrent, and we don't take it lightly.
And I know it's not talked about that often, but I assume both men and women pay child support.
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. Well, we have a proclamation for you here from the board in the matter of proclaiming August 2019, which begins tomorrow, as Child Support Awareness Month throughout Lorain County. The Lorain County Board of Commissioners wholeheartedly agrees that child support is an essential element in providing family stability, helping children grow up safe and healthy, and providing children with the opportunity for a better life. And working partnerships among government agencies, parents, legislators, attorneys, judges, healthcare professionals, advocates, employers, and other organizations and community groups are critical to developing an effective childhood or child support program. Now therefore be resolved by the Lorain County Board of Commissioners, we declare the month of August 2019 as Child Support Awareness Month in Lorain County and encourage all citizens to help ensure that the children of Lorain County receive the financial support they deserve. and it's signed by all three of us. We'd like to come down and present this to you.
Thank you.
I think she has some staffers with her too, you may want to bring up. Sure.
Yeah, staff come up as well.
Come on up there, Mr. Strozak. How you doing, Matt? How you doing?
Good work.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, first I've met her. We've seen her. We're friends on Facebook. It's awesome.
We should mention applicable to the unincorporated.
Thank you, congratulations. Thank you for your good work. Thank you, Jen. Your daughter's a little mini.
Does Jim know this?
Is this a little mini? I very rarely ever knew that. No?
Okay.
Are you being sarcastic?
You should mention.
No? Really? Yeah. She's so cute. She's shy.
I waved at her earlier and she ducked.
She's shy.
So this is for the resolution? That's the contract. Yeah, okay.
Ready?
Madam Clerk, resolutions?
Under Resolutions Number 1, Investments.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Appropriations.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Transfers.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
No advances, no repayments, requisitions.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Travel.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Bills.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as contained on the summary sheet for employees within jurisdiction of Lorraine County Commissioners.
County Administrator Jim Cordes, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. I do have a few personnel items, potential hires at 911 at the bridge, and maybe at the collection center I'd like to talk with the board about. Also preparing for labor negotiations. I have an update on purchase of real estate, one pending legal matter, and possibly a discussion on sale of real estate. All those topics allowable under the Sunshine Act for executive session discussion. So that's at the conclusion of our regular board meeting today. We go into executive session and we discuss those matters that I've outlined. Thank you.
Approve and waive the reading in the minutes of July 17th and 24th.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Employ legal counsel to provide legal services for the board in addition to prosecuting attorney in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code 305.13B and 309.09C.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Airport, enter an agreement with Richland Engineering Limited to furnish construction administration services for ODOT-funded taxiway A and B lighting improvements. Construction administration services are eligible for reimbursement from ODOT and 95% state share and 5% local share. The fee for such services shall not exceed $59,095.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Under Job and Family, enter an agreement with Boys and Girls Club of Lorain County, Lorraine, to execute a school clothing, shoe, and jacket program for eligible low-income, effective July 25th through September 27, 2019, and will not exceed $918,454.62.
So move.
Second?
Discussion.
That's what we talked to you about.
And I will be working on that to see if I can accelerate it. We had some partial information late yesterday. I had some out of the office meetings right after that, so I'll be dealing with it. There's some concern that maybe the clothing will be delivered a little bit later than the school year beginning. I don't know much about it. It's a great program. It started a couple years back. It definitely is good for the community and the children. And I will say that some of these funds previously have been the funds that we were sending to other communities to ensure that they weren't returned to the state and the federal government. You remember last year we moved less of them over to Cuyahoga and various agencies, and so I want to make sure the program continues. But I'll see what the time frames are, and and see if I can address that concern. But it was, the inquiry was a little soft that we had. So give me some time and I'll get back to you with some answers on that. Hopefully late today, no later than tomorrow. I'll be in touch with you on that.
That's the right figure. It seems much higher than.
No, that's about what it was last year,
Really?
too. Mhm.
Okay,
About-
I thought that was lower last year.
It was right in the $900 to $1 million
Really?
range.
Okay.
And I think for clarity for everyone, we were just hoping that we would be able to do those deliveries of those items prior to school start. So that's what we're looking into.
Well, the contract this year is a leverage contract. So through the Boys and Girls Club, and I may be able to address some of those concerns during that wonderful pizza break we always take. Just can't wait. So I think we'll get some clarity pretty quick.
Well, even
Great.
starting July 25th, we're already 6 days late, you know?
Yeah.
We got a week, it's gone already.
Well, if you'd like to meet every day, we can move faster.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, do one thing a day, right? So,
Thank you.
We have
Thank you.
100+ meetings, I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Workforce, approve and enter a data sharing and confidentiality agreement with ODJFS retroactive July 1st, 2019 through June 30th, 2021. This will be used to access outcomes for participants who are served through Ohio Means Jobs, Lorain County.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Common Pleas, approve a grant agreement in the amount of $1,375,180 with the Ohio Department Rehab and Correction Division of Parole and Community Services, Bureau of Community Sanctions, Targeted Community Alternatives to Prison TCAP grant.
So move.
Second?
Discussion.
Now, this is for 2 years, correct? This is not a yearly allocation?
Yes, and we had some carryover funds from TCAP. Been working with Sherry Clauser.
She just came in.
It's a good partnership. It's good for the adult probation department, the jail, everybody involved. It's been well managed by the courts here. The collaboration is strong. There was some money set aside to work with us that hasn't been utilized for possibly some drug addiction services. They are providing some funds already for drug addiction services, because this is for alternative sentencing. As folks probably are not aware out there, TCAP funds are used because we can no longer send our F5 convictions to the state prisons. We're in that grouping. So if they are incarcerated, we have to pay per incarceration for that. If Sherry wants to add something to that, I know she's here. I don't know if I've done enough justice to it, but if you want to add something. But it's been running pretty well.
Right. Well, last year, we were automatically a part of TCAP because of the size of our county, but going forward, it's completely voluntary, so. Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Sherry Clauser. I'm the court administrator for Common Pleas. Commissioner Kukowski, you are correct. Initially, we were automatically put into that as we are in the top 10 counties in size for the state. Our county was kind of ahead of the game, though, because our judges were very proactive and were already diverting a lot of those low-level felonies from going to prison. So it was a bonus for us.
Right.
And then
Don't tell the state that.
They knew it. They already told us that when they did it initially. And I have been working very closely with Mr. Cordez to assist with the jail, to assist with the community agencies, as well as creating new positions at probation for transitional offenders to make sure that they don't come back into the system, for electronic monitoring to have them released from jail earlier, for the jail overcrowding, and working. We've provided some money to the jail as well so they could get a jail case manager position created. So we've really been trying to do some outside of the box type ideas with the monies. So, and it's been great working with the county, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent, thank
Doing
you.
a great job.
When do we have to have it down there, signed and down there, the application?
I believe it was mid-August. I
Yeah,
did
June
send that
16th.
over.
So we have a little time
Yeah.
still.
Mhm.
While we have you captive, have we gotten any update on the parole issue with the?
We have actually. We had a phone call Monday with Cynthia Mauser from the ODRC, And the counties that receive supplemental services, which we are one of them, we currently have our own probation department, and we receive supplemental services from ODRC. Those counties will be going forward, and we will be taking over all of their cases that are probation, judicial release, starting in either January or February.
Is that still around 1,200 cases?
No, it is actually around 800 cases.
Well, that's a little better news.
Yeah, a little bit better news. The first installment on that grant should be coming in August.
Do we know how much we're getting to offset our costs?
They are allotting us, they're considering that we need 12 positions at $75,000 per position. That does not obviously cover 12 whole positions with benefits.
Right.
But we have been planning for this, and we have a definite plan in place for space, for onboarding new positions, and as well as policies and training, because we're getting a few cases we haven't had before.
Are we going to be able to handle those 12 in the space that we have upstairs at the courthouse?
Right now, we have enough to accommodate 8. We probably will not be hiring 12 just
immediately,
for that.
right.
Yeah.
Out of the gate.
But we have enough room to accommodate 8 positions right now.
And I noticed, Sherry, with that, there are several counties who don't have a department, so the state's still going to take care of their load, right?
That is a little bit different. I don't know the exact legislation that went through on it, but the counties that currently have no probation department, they can choose if they want to take it over or not, or if they want to continue with the adult parole authority.
Right.
But
I
we're
thought
not
they were
in that
giving them
position.
2 years to make the change.
Right. It's
Yeah.
a little bit different
Interesting.
than us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
well-
a dozen or so that don't have a.
Don't have a
probation.
department.
Right. They would have to create a whole department
Correct.
from the chief probation officer down
Down.
in
Yeah,
space.
so we have some time on figuring the other 4 seats out, because I just don't want to have to split the location again.
Right,
The security issue is the big thing.
Correct. I've worked with Karen Davis. There is a small portion up on the 3rd floor that could probably, not that bigger area, but the smaller one. So I've been working with Karen on that as well, so.
Well, whatever we need to do, because the last time the big cost was having the security at 2 locations, and,
Right, we want to avoid that. I do not want that department to be split between 2 different areas.
Correct.
okay. Well, we'll come up with some solution, we always do.
Right.
All right, great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lundy.
Yes.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Coroner, create Fund 3570, Coroner's Lab Services providing out-of-county or state correctional facility exams and autopsies.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Public comment.
Anyone wishing to address the board this morning, please come on up. We have a 3-minute period of time for you to make your public comments.
No. We're just here to observe today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Teresa Shea, 519 East Avenue, Elyria. To commissioners, elected and appointed officials, and audience, solutions to the lack of transportation and its effects on this county and its populace are many-layered. We have NOACA, ODOT, cities, MOVE, all focusing on one part or more. No one layer can help the other if there is a deficit. Puzzle pieces, layers, clockworks, all analogies for what is. Buses and trains is my focus, and my focus in layers. Once you, as a county, truly dedicate yourselves to them, you will see all of Lorain County prosper. The open house at the Transportation Center helped people become excited about possibilities of old and new trains. You began the layer with the building and what you do with rentals and catering, but it needs to be completed with trains and buses. Passenger trains can bring people here for business. Buses can bring people to jobs, employments, life needs. Many of our criminals have a lack of life vision because they haven't connected to a bigger world. We need to promote our county and worry about first impressions. The Greyhound bus stop has to have access to shelter and bathrooms. It would only create terrible memories otherwise. The nearby Elyria Fire Station is taking in the poor passengers. The fire chief spoke at Elyria City Council and spoke of their reaching out to troubled passengers of the bus and keeping them, which I thought was very nice. Our county, your county, needs to help buses and trains. The buses for individuals has a skeletal structure that needs to be filled in with more buses. I grew up in a big city, and half the city moved about on transit lines. Our county has smaller buses, and they are nice, a good start. We need more. You have money from the sales tax you have been collecting for years. Time to use it for buses and trains in Lorain County. Any questions?
It was just a public comment period, so we appreciate
Oh,
your
you
comment
can't give
and your
me
feedback.
questions? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But thank
I
you.
don't like them at the end, though.
Ah,
Okay.
well, thank you.
Thank you, though.
Okay. Anyone else wishing to address the board under public comment? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Cordez?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. A couple of things this morning, Commissioners. I have quite a few things, I guess. First, I want to request a resolution for the set of public hearing to begin the probably painful process of establishing a county building department in the unincorporated area of Lorain County. Several years back, we had a what I would call a collaborative, voluntarily used building department. For various reasons, it didn't really work very well. I will say part of the reason was us, the way we tried to do it, the way we tried to staff it, the way we tried to have a fee schedule that was ridiculous, using part-time employees that the desire at the time was to use part-time people that we thought were semi-retired but didn't understand they had primary jobs other places. They weren't retired. They were looking for second jobs that they could only come inspect things at night or maybe on a weekend. It just wasn't really cobbled together. The effort was laudable. The outcome was terrible. And the backlash was justified. And it culminated in a collapse of that effort. But that doesn't mean that the need still isn't there. And in fact, it's there in a greater percentage now than it's ever been. The growth that we're going to see in the unincorporated area is tremendous. It's on the drawing board. The housing starts will be there, absent a complete collapse in the economy again. We definitely are seeing in the planning department. We're seeing it in the community development department. It's unprecedented. We're talking about sewer projects in lots of places. Eaton Township is seeing it. They already have the sewers. It's not going to go away. And we don't have a building department. And those communities that are robust are trying to outsource some of that work. They're looking for alternatives. It's not going to be very popular in the communities that do not have a lot of robust growth going on. I understand that. But we need to do something. We're the 9th largest county in the state of Ohio, and we don't have a building department in the unincorporated areas of our community. We've talked about this now for a couple years. Various issues have gotten in front of it. It was an initiative for this year that we were going to start early in the year, but we had other things that got placed in front of it. But I don't want it to die on the vine without making this, at least trying to make a push on it. We've had to set aside resources for this. Safe building within codes that are well-defined to protect people are necessary to protect our community, and also to level the playing field between good builders and bad builders. Most builders are good builders, but there are those out there that are not. So as I've indicated to you before, we need to begin this journey. It starts with putting some public hearing on, public notices, and I don't know that it's going to be completely well received in a lot of parts of our community. Some communities it's going to be resoundingly endorsed, and others it's going to be clobbered. So I just want you to know that what I'm asking you is not an easy chore, and it's not going to be an easy labor. I've given you lots of information, lots of rollout things that we need to do. We just don't do this on our own. We need to go through this process, and we need to submit to the state. We have to give them a plan. I've given you a staffing plan. I've given you many pieces and parts of the puzzle that we'll be demonstrating through these public hearings. So this isn't, I just woke up this morning, walked in and said, hey, I want to put a building department together. It wasn't that easy. I've been working with Mr. Romanchek and his people for some time. I would prefer just to wait for things this summer to end and have a nice summer, pleasant ending to the summer, but I'm going to give myself another headache and ask you to docket this and let's get moving. So you have a resolution, Madam Clerk, I think that we can begin to work from? You don't?
Not on me, no.
You want me to make it up? Let me think. No. Here, pass this down. I thought you had a copy. My apologies.
No, I just want to thank you, Jim, and thank Don. I know both of you have been working very thoroughly on putting together a building department business plan for the county, and I thought the work was very well done. I thought it was very well detailed. As has been pointed out, this is an important step forward for Lorain County. We don't have a county building department. It's important to have a county building department for the protection of consumers and also for the safety of families who are going to be occupying these properties. It's long overdue. It's very important. This county is experiencing a tremendous growth, especially in some of the unincorporated areas. And I hope that even though there will be some pushback in some areas, I hope that people understand that the ultimate purpose of this is for quality workmanship and, most importantly, safety for families who occupy these homes.
Well, if I can add to that, my background is real estate, construction, and development, and I've seen the fallout and the problems that can arise years later when a property or a dwelling place hasn't been held to regular standards. Resale situation, homeowners face excessive cost to bring it up to standard, and now the dwelling's older. I've seen situations where they had inadequate foundations. I've seen problems because just from the ground up, from the footers, the foundations, the basements, those types of problems that occur in the construction phase. And there are a lot of good builders, but there are a lot of sloppy or shoddy workmen out there. We have the situation of home improvement companies out there that take advantage of homeowners. I think this is something that, for the protection of consumers, is going to eventually be seen as a valuable resource for the community and for property owners.
I too was in the real estate business. My ex-husband was and his family were builders, and so I too seen the fallout. And I like what you said. It levels the playing field for good, solid people doing work and those that are not so good or solid. So yeah, it's definitely protection for our community. So it's going to be a long road, but we'll get it done. We're going to take it slow. We're not going to just dive right in and hire a bunch of people. And we have
we have a ramp plan, and as I told you, it'll take upwards of 3 years as we move into this. It won't take 3 years to put the department together,
Right.
but the staffing models, the revenue models, as you know, I've been here long enough with most of you. I'm an incrementalist. I don't take one giant leap for mankind. I take one footstep. So I think we have a really good, solid plan, but I know we're going to face a lot of resistance. Let me also point out that we're not going to be parked in the parking lot of Home Cheapo worrying about somebody taking out,
Right.
replacing their hot water heater. I'm worried about the contractor that comes out and replaces your mother's hot water heater and it blows up because they don't know what they're doing. So that was the big rallying cry the last time in the voluntary communities, that why should they have to do this and do that? There's people doing work for other people that may not be qualified or may not be doing it right, that are relying upon those people doing the work.
Right.
And I'm not saying that there's rampant abuse going on out there, but certainly if you're hiring somebody to do the work, you want to make sure they're certified. You want to make sure the work is done correctly, especially if you're paying for it.
Right.
Okay? So that's all part of everything that's going on, that's going to go on. But this is going to be, you know, a process that we unroll over the next several months to get the department ready to go. I'm pretty well targeting close to the end of the year to have something up and running, and then moving phase by phase into the growth of it. As we see the need, we'll bring on more, but we're going to do some contractual services so we don't overload and we don't have people that are not there without a workload. And I have another resolution I'm going to ask for to support this right after, if you do this.
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
2 questions, actually. Do we not have to have 2 public hearings for this?
I believe we do.
Yeah, I thought under the revised code, I thought it said 2 hearings. We also need to post 2 weeks in advance of the first hearing.
That is correct, Board. What I wanted to do is make sure we get this first meeting up and running, and then my thought would be, once we have that going and we have a little more direction, we would then go ahead and submit another resolution to advertise for the second public hearing, so that, again, we are making sure that we're doing this in a way, because we will also have to have the rules and regulations available for public inspection and review. So if that first public hearing has us changing something, then we need to make sure we have that online as well.
Why don't we schedule them 30 days apart?
Okay.
So I'd rather have that ready to go than have to come back in the face of, you know, some significant opposition, whether we even have the second public meeting. This has to happen. So let's say it's going to happen, and then work within those confines and make it happen. Okay?
We can do that.
All right.
Clerk has another.
So second question on top of that is, you do have it scheduled for on Wednesday, August 21st, 9:45.
And I know you like to do Tuesday, so that's
Well,
fine.
Tuesday, we do have our Carpenter ditch hearing and then Stormwater at 11, so we
Oh,
can't
whoopee.
keep it on that. Okay, so we can keep it on the Wednesday of during the commissioners' meeting, our first one, or we can just move it till Tuesday like we do, and then.
Tuesday's
schedule
fine.
another thing. Okay.
It's going to be good.
Okay.
I love ditch viewings.
No, this is a hearing, Carpenter.
Oh, I don't like to hear them.
You never
You
go on the
didn't hear me.
viewings hardly ever.
That's why I like them.
Oh.
You don't attend.
Doesn't go, that's why I like some, gets us out of your hair.
No, your ditch viewing is this coming Monday on that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You're walking.
Is that like a picnic and stuff when we go?
Yeah.
We could do that if you want.
Take donuts. So, okay, hold on, let me look at this real fast. So give or take, we'll do.
You haven't seen the county golf cart yet, have you? County golf cart.
The one that we got for the sheriff?
Mm.
The 4-wheeler, can we get that 6-wheeler for the
Ooh.
sheriff's
County
department?
golf cart.
I know how to drive those.
So give or take, we'll do our first hearing on August 20th. Yeah, give or take, Carpenter ditch, I'm thinking maybe an hour.
Then we got
I
Stormwater
mean,
at
Stormwater,
11.
we're gonna have to move
Oh, we are?
a little bit up later.
Yeah, and that's movable. That's not
So,
big deal.
we'll schedule it tentatively at 10:30 right now. It could
Okay.
go later or whatever. Okay, so hold on, first PH for this. And then we'll look at October 1st at 9:30 for the second public hearing.
October 1st.
Yeah.
I'm confused with it.
Yeah.
What?
Are we setting the first hearing?
We're setting both of them. We're setting the first hearing on August 20th at
To
10:30.
the 20th.
Yes.
20th at 10:30.
Is that fair week?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Okay, look, before it even starts,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a lot of folks in the townships at these public meetings,
That's why I
so
kinda-
let's not do this.
Okay.
Okay?
So let's move it up.
Yeah.
To the
I mean,
27th?
You know, before the conspiracy starts, let's
Oh,
suppress the conspiracy. Let's not even begin it, okay?
so the 13th?
Oh, no, hold on. So let me look
No,
at
we
this.
don't have time. to
Fair
do that.
starts the 19th.
Yeah, the fair week is that week, yes.
The 13th, does that give us 2 weeks prior, or notice?
No, we'd have to
So
advertise
I
2 weeks in
can
advance.
Well, forget the advertising. It's gonna be, we did it fair week, so nobody would come. I mean, I'm just not gonna go
She
through
was
that.
gonna move it to the 13th.
Yeah, we can't do that.
27, 10?
Recovery
be
court
a different-
graduation at 10.
Is at
on
10.
Tuesday, the
Okay.
27th.
I mean, we usually meet, on the Tuesday meetings, we can meet whenever, but usually the first and the third are scheduled for, things. I mean, so that would put us at September 3rd, or we could do it on August 27th.
I won't be here September 3rd.
Correct, I know that, so we could do it August 27th if the board prefers that day, at 9:30.
Well, we have a recovery court graduation at 10.
Oh, at 10.
Just do it later.
Yeah, an afternoon meeting, can we?
Yeah, could we do like
And actually, quite frankly, to be honest with you, we probably should do this late in the
in the
day.
evening?
We should do one during the day, one in the evening. We can make the first one in the evening.
Okay.
Look, we need to give people an opportunity to be heard on this. I told you it's not going to be an easy process.
Okay.
There will be supporters, but there'll be plenty of resistance.
August 27th, you want to
At
do 5 PM, 6 PM?
5:30.
5:30.
Okay. You got that, Tony?
And then we're gonna do, what did I say before, October 1st? So that's not till, well, let's just go scheduled as October 1st still, at 9:30 for the second public hearing.
Okay.
That gives us plenty of time in between,
Yep.
and then,
That's enough time for it.
That's
We
good.
need edits, we'll get the edits done. If we need, we can move that
Right.
meeting, push it if we need to push. Okay.
And then
okay,
we'll.
we all good for that?
I like defined timeframes that we're using as, milestones to get things done.
Then we'll work on the public notice.
Could you
Needs
repeat
gone.
it?
Well, the public
Good
notice
morning.
is just gonna, I mean, my public notices are just usually a public hearing on these days.
Okay, because I thought the revised code said it had to be in a paper circulation, had to appear twice or at least once on the
Well, so-
website and once in the
We want to do it in the
paper.
rural, urban,
Right.
too.
Right.
So it'll appear actually basically August 13th, August 20th, and we can actually put another one out sometime in September if we wanted to, because our next public hearing is not till. So Jerry, August 27th at 5:30?
5:30?
Yes, and then October 1st at 9:30.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That gives us a broad spectrum of possibility for people to come in. I like that.
Mhm. So we're adopting the resolution that you passed to the clerk this
Okay.
morning.
Would you like to make that motion?
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to adopt the resolution so we can begin the process of establishing the county building department.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Sueda?
Aye.
Jerry, you have did you give Jerry the,
Yeah.
you have the one for
The contract?
CT?
Yeah. I'm saying that we don't have do we want a termination date?
We'll just put a 30-day in
Yeah,
it.
just put
Okay.
something saying the commissioners.
Okay, yeah. Commissioners, I'm also going to ask, and we did an RFP, and we've selected CT consultants to work with us. We'll just add a 30-day cancellation to this to help us work through this process. We are not experts in building departments. The information we gave you in the prepared was the collateral materials that we needed, but we're asking for a little bit of outside help to assist us moving through as we start to ramp up, and that recommendation came from the Community Development Department. Don, you may want to just chime in a little bit with CT Consultancy. Look at that nice proposal.
Yeah. After reaching out to about 5, 6 different companies, some that specialize solely within operating building departments, as well as some local firms that had capabilities that have supplied support. Some didn't have an interest, some did not reply, some just didn't seem to provide a level of service that I could recommend to the Board of Commissioners. So CT was very interested in working with us. They have the personnel in place. They've done, they've done projects in the county and they're familiar with us. They are not involved on the residential side at all for like home design or whatnot, so they have no conflicts. And they also have an approach that was very much like ours in that they want to work with us. They don't want to dominate the process. They're here to support us. And then also they have the staff and the relationships in place to be able to make sure that we have a full roster if we determine going forward to submit our application as we hire up, and they're very flexible. They have been working with us just to make sure that we're understanding where the steps we need to take and that they would be there with us, beside us rather than, behind or in front. So I'm very comfortable working with them. I'm very comfortable recommending this contract to the board to assist us to get to where we want to be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And yeah, thanks for all your work again on this, and Jim. It's
My pleasure.
I liked the presentation, how you laid everything out, and very, very thorough.
Thank you.
I don't think you'll be thanking us at the end of the year, but
No,
that's.
probably not.
Yeah, we'll be using your name in vain, but yeah. Okay.
Would you like to make a motion?
Make the motion to retain CT Consultants for services to help us with the structuring and launch of our county building department.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Ms. Sueda?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Don.
Okay, we're on our way.
We are. Put your
Do you have
seatbelt on.
Yeah, again.
If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
That's right.
Okay, might as well bring it from here. Let's talk about the crime lab.
Okay.
I see we got it back. I want to thank the auditor's office for an extraordinary turnaround. I didn't know it was going to be sitting here. I thought we'd be dealing with it next week, but we might as well pounce on it today. What do you think?
I asked her if I could get it by
Thank you.
tomorrow or
I
this
appreciate their
morning.
efforts. I really do. They're very busy down there, so, getting information in a couple of days is nice. As you know, we've had a lot of things that we wanted to work on early in the year that got pushed aside. One of those was what to do with the crime lab. It's becoming more and more important. I've been trying to find more and more roles for it with the different programming around the county. The latest one being the fingerprinting of the youth with domestic relations in all the police departments in Lorain County that we took on that role. Integrating it into the fabric of what's being done has been an important element of utilization, and making it universally a resource for everybody has been a goal that I've been trying to achieve for a couple of years, and it's getting better and better. And making, it's something that returns good value to not just one specific area, but the whole community. I met with Elizabeth yesterday, and we had quite a chat over what we're doing and what needs to be done. And I'm very pleased with where we're going. But that said, we've known for a while that the money that received, the small amount of revenue, is not sufficient to continue the crime lab forward, and hasn't been for some time. We have made small initiatives to the community for a levy to support the lab. Those things were initially very positively received, but then we had some negative campaigning to defeat those things a few years back, and really brought some hard looks from a negative side that wasn't really accurate depiction of what the lab's role was in the community, and we haven't been able to lift past that. I mean, we haven't done an axe for the lab in some time. I think we need to once again relook at whether we're going to continue forward, how to continue forward, and what the ask should be for the lab, because we need these services, and it's a critical time to be partnering and be able to produce these services and be able to give more for the people that need what the lab is doing. So, with that, we have two proposals for the levy. I can talk more to that, but I don't want to put if we put a levy on, then I'll start speaking more to the roles and responsibilities and the efforts. I don't want to put a lot of time into that if we're not going to do another levy.
When did this go out? I haven't seen it.
What's that?
I haven't
I just found it this morning,
Yeah,
sitting here.
I gave everybody a copy this morning.
Yeah.
It's in the mailbox?
Here you go.
Yeah, it's in your
Commissioner, you can have
office.
mine. Here, pass
Yeah,
these.
look at mine.
And we can obviously put it on, we can talk about it next week. I just found it sitting here, so I thought that we were going to go on it. This is what the revenue is raised. Casey, did you figure, we talked yesterday, did you figure out what the burn is right now? Why don't you come on up? I was going through the budget yesterday. We're really working on piecemealing things together with relationships and employees and monitors, and because there's certain requirements, and then you got to have male monitors, female monitors, and when somebody's on vacation, it's trying to get people in, and cover certain things because, of the sensitivities, and so it's been a challenge. And then I was going over the budget yesterday, so, my concern was, what the burn rate is. I guess I call it a burn rate, but with the negative coefficient, so to speak. And where are we at?
Yeah, so last year we were about 60 grand. This year we project about that same vicinity. Next year we are budgeted about 70 grand.
So we're about 60,000 on the negative. Now, how does that come into play? I actually look at the fact that we're bringing in revenue, a shared partnership on the from the drug court on the monitoring tech, and if we took over responsibility because they've lost the grant on the drug monitoring for that grant that was paying for some of that drug monitoring, where's the acceleration coefficient with that?
So that grant that comes in about 10 grand a year is what we were seeing for that lab tech.
So we're seeing about $10,000 of support from the drug court that they're not going to be able to continue very shortly.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
So that
more
would
like 80
probably
then.
push us. So we're about halfway through the year. So that probably pushes us to about 65, 60, somewhere between 65 to 70,000 negative for the year.
That's correct. Yep.
And our cash position coming into the year was.
What we're budgeted to be our cash carryover this year is going to be about 65 grand at the end of this going into 2020.
Okay. So, we've been slowly drawing down the cash reserves from the years that the levy was the small levy that's in perpetuity was there to shore up the operation. But we're at the end of that road. We've entered every unique relationship we could to make the money go further. But we need some assistance too. And plus the lab is located in the low level of the admin building. It moved with adult probation several times back in the days when the relationships weren't as positive as they are today. I'm glad that it didn't stay in the courthouse with adult probation because of the needs for space. It was not a really good fit to begin with. That said, even if relationships have been as strong as they are today, we probably would have needed to make the decision not to leave it there. But that said, we moved it into the lower level here because we didn't really know what to do with it at the time while we were doing this big, huge project. My desire is to move it onto the Broad Street building. It has a new roof, has new HVAC. We use that. We needed to rent a lot of square footage while we were transitioning on the construction project. So instead of renting, we invested in our own building, and so we were able to do infrastructure renovation. So we have a building that's at least dry and tight that we can use the front of. Now, they don't need that massive building, but we're also talking about the evidence storage facility that's required. The courts haven't been pushing hard on that because they know we're running a little bit slow, so the judges have been just fine about that, but eventually that issue is going to have to be solved with all the jurisdictions. I've been working with all of the police departments and courts with that, but it's taken a backseat, and I talked to the head of the Police Chiefs Association just last week on this, so they understand where we're at and why it's slowed a bit. We had hoped to use a big piece of that building over there to do evidence storage on a universal program for all of the departments in Lorain County, and then have the lab up in the front of that building, renovate the front for a lab up there, move it from the lower level of the county admin building to that location, and then get more yardage out of the staff, use the staff from the lab to take care of the evidence storage so that we don't have to get additional staffing and access and so forth. We get some more efficiencies out of what we're doing. But that requires some resources. Just to move alone, because once you move all that equipment, you got to recalibrate it, and there's quite a bit of a process that goes on. The location at the low level is insufficient, but it was all we had at the time until bigger decisions could be made. So it's time for us to look at that too. You just got done with a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm not going to let you wait and not do anything. So. These are things that have been on my desk.
Yeah, that's okay. Your piles on your desk are starting to go down.
That's what's going up on your desk.
Okay.
That's my dialogue for you, Commissioners. So it's in front of you.
Yeah. You have two amounts here. Which one are you recommending, the .08 or the .04?
Well, I don't actually know. It depends on what you want. It depends on how long you want it. It depends on what you desire in the community is. There's a lot more testing we can be doing. There's a lot more services we can be producing. Clearly, to do it right, we can borrow. So some of the money from either one I can get there with either one. One would probably move us more closely in a cash position over time to get there. One would do some borrowing to get there. The lower one would do that. And so it's how you feel.
Especially in the times that we're in right now with all the drug epidemic that we're in, I think we need to probably go with the .08 and make sure we do this right, not have to borrow. I'd rather try to stay in a cash position if we can.
Yeah, I mean, we're certainly in an epidemic here, and, you know, I gotta tell you, when these crimes happen, when people die, people want answers. And Crime Lab plays a very important part in helping with our investigations, and if you haven't heard it already, I hope it will be something that you take seriously, is that I'm told that when our drug enforcement people go to national conferences, Lorain County seems to pop up on the screen for some new drug or something that's out there that hasn't been seen in other places. And you know, for us to be able to make arrests, also things need to be tested so they can make sure it's not just something that's I don't know, a fake drug, I guess, or a phony drug out there, that it really is the real deal, so that they can then go forward and make the arrest. So the Crime Lab helps out significantly with taking the bad people off the streets and getting answers for the families who are grieving because they've lost loved ones, and it plays a very critical role. I think what this board's always tried to do is we want to make sure we do things the right way. We don't want to piecemeal it, because this is an epidemic. You can't put a Band-Aid on an epidemic. You have to make sure you do things the right way. So I'd be more inclined to support the .08. Have we done a breakdown what this would be for a $100,000?
I only found this here.
Yeah, they're in your office. Okay. That's what I need to see on
Times
here.
1,000 divided by 35 something and blah, blah, blah. We can come up with it.
There's a little formula.
There is, and it's in my office, but
I used to know how to do those.
Okay.
I think it was, it comes out to 8 cents, something.
Yeah, I didn't, like the commissioner, I didn't mean to be premature on this, but I found it sitting at my desk,
Right.
and I thought
No,
I was
right.
supposed to move with it, so.
Sure, no, and yeah, everybody needs to understand the Board of Elections deadline is next Wednesday at 4 p.m., correct?
Correct.
So, and we still need to get the proper paperwork over to them, make sure we've dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's, so we don't want to be doing things at the last minute. This is pretty close, but we don't want to absolutely do it at the last minute. So, any additional thoughts?
No, I just really resonating the importance of being able to respond, and you're correct that we're always coming up with some new unbefore-seen narcotic that's hitting the streets. It requires new testing. It requires the mechanism to at least determine what we have in a timely fashion, and I don't think we can minimize the importance of the work that comes out of the Crime Lab.
Well, why Lorain County comes up is because we're a SOS community, the surge of synthetics, and also the HIDTA community, the high-intensity drug trafficking area. So Lorain County does come up on the map when we're talking about drugs, because we have those designations, not good designations, but they also bring in some resources, outside resources from the FBI and things like that. But so we're in the middle of something huge here, and I don't want to play
Well,
around. We need to do the maximum.
These
Well,
are
not the
small
maximum, but the
numbers.
higher
These are
numbers.
small numbers by comparison to what it cost us if we aren't combating the epidemic and bringing down some of those numbers of the where the fallout is and where it really costs the community.
Yeah, the more we can address the epidemic, hopefully we can get people back to their families and back to working again and get the bad guys off the streets, and also hopefully reduce the burglaries and the break-ins that are taking
Right.
place, or the robberies that are taking place, because people, they need their money for the next fix.
Well, turnaround's quick. We support the frontline people.
Right.
We support the justice system as best we can with the minimum resources we have. We need better resources. I'm only asking you because we're out of money.
Right.
The last few times we went with this, we did have carryover. We were looking ahead, but our cash position is dismal, and so this isn't an ass with a full basket. This is an ass with a basket with a hole in it.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Understood.
Just give or take, I mean, I'm trying to remember how to do this, but it's like maybe $2.
$2 a year?
Don't quote
Per-
me on it, but I'm
Per
just.
100,000 in value of
Yeah.
property.
I'm thinking that's when we did the transit levy, it was gonna
But
raise about.
don't quote me, I just
that.
kind of.
I can't give you an accurate
I
number on
can give
that,
it to
Commissioner,
you
I'm sorry.
when I
Okay.
get my calculation,
Okay.
but.
I do plan on having a presentation within the next couple of weeks. You know, I approached you real quick with this. We all had quick conversations here and there, a lot of hallway conversations because the deadlines were looming.
Right.
We cleared a lot of stuff off our docket in the last few months, and so this was something that was sitting in the stack to get to. I'm glad we had a couple weeks still before the deadline, and thank you for turning your attention to it, but I'm sorry I don't have a presentation yet, but I will soon.
We
No.
will, but
Sure.
before.
It's easy to understand
Right.
what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I would make a motion to do the .08, which would generate $594,090 for the crime lab.
Okay, I would second that.
Any further discussion? We are going to, this will be appear on the, I gotta say. what it is. November 5th, 2019 ballot in 5 years. As of
5 years.
5 years.
Okay.
Mhm.
Ms. Kowski?
Aye.
Mr. Lundey?
Aye.
Ms. Sueda?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You want any more good news?
Do you have,
Sure.
do you have more?
Oh, Lord.
I'm frowning.
No news is good.
Hey, Don, you still here? You don't need to come up. Next week, I want to do I just went through the report on the stream restoration over on Clinton Avenue. And we got some nice pictures.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh,
It is
it
beautiful. I
is.
want to do a PowerPoint presentation, maybe next week or the week after. Get some of that out. And then I want to get a report on how we're doing keeping people out of back there and whether we need some additional help back there before it gets, I know we had some issues. But I think it's really worth showing the public the transformation of that area back there. I was very impressed with the aerials and
Yeah.
the things that they gave us in the final report. So can we do that, Sue? That'd be great, thanks. The other thing is I don't normally comment on public comment, but I want to comment on Greyhound Bus. Greyhound Bus is a private company, and I have repeatedly, over decades, tried to get Greyhound Bus to live up to their responsibilities to their riders. They don't want to. They don't want to pay for anything. They pay $100 a month for a bus slip, to use the bus slip. And it costs us more than $100 a month just to clean up after the people that wait for the Greyhound bus.
You heard that correctly, $100.
$100, and they reluctantly pay that. They have been chased all over the city of Elyria for 25 years and chased out of most places in Elyria for 25 years. They used to have a franchise. They do not want a franchise anymore in Elyria. They do not want to do anything. They do not want to do electronic ticketing here. They do not want to put any covered convenience for their riders here. They do not want anything. They refuse to have any courtesy to their riders here. We would open bathrooms for Greyhound if they would pay to have somebody monitor the bathrooms a little bit before and after the bus left. They do not want to pay for anything. They have refused to pay for anything. They are a private, for-profit company.
I was just gonna say, for-profit company.
They, in fact, we have routinely, in years gone by, we had the Greyhound franchise for a little while when we were over here, and they were a terrible company to deal with. And we ran very negative on that franchise, but we tried to keep it open, do the ticketing and everything else, because nobody else wanted the franchise to keep Greyhound in Elyria. They're the ones that shut the franchise down, not us. And all they want to do is they want a bus slip. Truth of the matter is, they will park on the side of the road. they don't care.
I haven't been on a bus since I was a teenager, but when I was a teenager, they had restrooms on buses. Do they
I'm
still have
assuming they still
restrooms
do,
on buses?
Commissioner. I don't know, so
Everybody
Been on
talks about-
buses, and they still have.
I couldn't
Could
really.
be for people waiting, though, too, is the concern, but.
But they have an obligation to their riders. They're not filling the obligation to their riders. The alley down there, quite frankly, it wasn't built to carry that heavy bus, and so it tears up the alley down there. Elyria is real good about trying to take care of that. Even before Mayor Brenda, Mayor Grace came down there and improved that alley so the buses could get down there in a partnership with the county. So we've done what we can. But sheltering the Greyhound riders is Greyhound's responsibility. We have spoken with them. They do not want to do anything for their riders. So it's not the county.
Right.
We would work with Greyhound if they wanted to work to make things better for their folks, but they don't.
Very true.
That's the conclusion of what I have to say about Greyhound, before I get angry about it.
Say about that.
That's true. And he did ride the bus, though. Forrest Gump did ride the
And
bus.
we've already put to bed the train issue, so.
It's greatly unfortunate that Norfolk Southern required us to do things
Yep.
that legally we could not provide.
Right.
And yes, the funding was cobbled together to complete that project. It took 3 years to cobble that money together, and they placed a barrier in front of us so significant that we could not leap over it. No matter how Herculean the task was, we could not do it.
Yep.
And that was greatly unfortunate, but they found a way to prevent us from doing it.
Yeah, so it's not due to a lack of effort or caring or any of those things. It's the realities of the partners or people we've tried to partner with stepping up to the plate.
Norfolk Southern can spin any tale they want.
Right.
They can tell any tale they want. They can reinvent history any way they want.
They're trying to.
They can position themselves any way they want. The fact of the matter is they kept searching for a way to prevent the project, and they found it.
Yep.
We went out to bid. We bid the job in anticipation.
We ordered supplies. We ordered material.
We had almost $11 million lined up and cobbled together. Does it sound like we didn't want the project?
You,
We bid it. We were ready to award bids.
we had a
They
project
finally figured it
manager.
out. By the way, go look at the bridge next to the fire station. Go look at it. Go look at the condition of it, the one that they wanted us to rebuild for them. Go look at it. That's just one of the many issues.
That was a derailment of like 25 years ago, I think, and they still haven't fixed it, so.
And
Frustrating, I know.
it's frustrating when people put out information that's not factual, not truthful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ennis.
I do have two matters of pending court action to discuss with you in executive session.
Okay.
Commissioners report.
Well, Thursday, I want to congratulate Jack Bradley for a successful campaign kickoff at Scorchers. Great wings. They always have great wings. Got to see two of my dad's secretaries at Jack Bradley. I don't know how they know Jack, but it was really good to see them. Mr. Cortez, I want to bring you up to date on the indigent defense. For 2020, it looks like we're going to be between 70 and 75% reimbursement.
You owe me lunch.
Nope. 2021, between 90 and 95%.
What is it? If we get there in 2032, you're going to wait? I mean, how long do I get my
We're
sandwich?
going to be starving by
Yeah,
then. Couple other things, the internet sales tax is going into effect immediately. Vendors with over $100,000 in sales or 200 transactions a year are required to submit the sales tax, and they're anticipating about 51 million.
Isn't that
which-
incredible?
Yeah. but-
Once it's at full ramp?
Yeah, so that's good. But there are a couple of decreases coming in the future, which is not good news. The elimination of the internet tax, that's gonna be about $40 million a year in lost revenue, and the prescription eyewear is gonna be between about $8 to $10 million in.
Well, they finally
in
made
loss.
that medical. Did they make that medical finally? So that,
Yeah, so unfortunately, but
And we went from 1.66 to 1.68
the general
on
local
government funding.
Well, it's going in the right direction. It's
Well, it's because
reduced.
the state sales tax up and it's a percentage of the sales tax.
Right.
State sales tax.
So Saturday, I want to talk about the Lorain County Dog Kennel event, which it was a huge success, put on by our great volunteers that go above and beyond for our dog kennel all the time. The staff was there to show the many visitors, the dogs available for adoption, and I'm happy to report there were 3 adoptions and 2 redemptions. They made close to $6,000 that will go towards the medical fund for sick and injured dogs. And I want to mention Lori Wilbur from WOBL WDLW. Her station was there, and she also donated $1,000 cash. She's a great partner with our kennel. And also Bob Sell from Wolf House won the 50-50 and donated it back. So thank you to everybody that participated, and for all the vendors that came back that were there last year and they came out again. The bad news, like the dog warden said, over the weekend we picked up 12 dogs, but he did say 6 of those were redeemed. He actually said the owner redemption is higher than the adoptions.
Yes.
So at least people are finding their way to the kennel to find their dog, and it's not getting readopted out to somebody else. So, what else?
There were some cuties there.
I know, weren't there? Did you try your mop yet?
No, I didn't get
mop?
it yet.
Yeah, Norwex was there. Did you ever hear of Norwex? Well, she bought the mop, so I'm
bought
waiting
the
to
mop.
see if she likes it. If she likes it, I'm going to
If it mops without me, it works.
Maybe you could teach your dogs how to
to
push
mop.
it around. Okay, and then, tomorrow is the Best of Lorain County at the college, LCCC, from 6 to 9. It's going to be the first year that I'm not going to be there. I have something that I have to do that night, which is not going to be fun. I'd much rather be at the
that's right.
Yeah, much rather be at the Best of Lorain County, but unfortunately I won't be able to be there, so. End of my report.
Just want to congratulate everyone involved with the Dog Kennel Open House. Great turnout there. They had a little bit of a breeze blowing. I know that's always a problem for the vendors because things start to blow around, but without the breeze, it would be a little
scorching.
uncomfortable.
Dust.
So, but yeah, just an amazing turnout. Can't thank WDLW and WOBL and Lori Lori Wilbur for her contribution to help out with the dog kennel. They just do amazing work with that, and all the volunteers. I mean, I think every other person you run into is a volunteer. Yeah. It's just amazing. It's been how many years now since
3.
we've had to put down a dog?
Almost 4 years.
4
I thought
years.
you meant the events 3 years in a row, so.
Yeah, so it's been very successful over there, but can be done with the strong community support and all the volunteers, and so we want to make sure we thank everyone. Also enjoyed touring our transportation center on Sunday. I see Sandy sitting in the back there. Thank you, Sandy, for putting that whole event together, and your whole team. Very successful, and didn't get a chance to hear all the stories. I know Sandy was talking about hearing the great stories. So many people were reminiscing about when they left for the service and when they came home, and how that was kind of a connection point for them in years gone by. And so a lot of really cool stories there.
A lot of our employees came out with Sandy.
Yeah.
I've got a list if I can give a shout out. Sure. I do want to thank Sandy, Pam Novak, and Pam was also helped with the dog event also on Saturday. Jessica Hozalski, Janelle Cleveland, Linda Masterson, Cindy Coward, Heather Ives. From our help desk, we had Latanya, our custodians, our maintenance team with Karen, and Ernie from IT, all helped to make that transportation day such a success. And I really appreciate when it's on a Sunday and they're giving their time and energy from their weekend to go do that. And it was great. Finger foods, tours, they had the trolley was running, so it was. I think everyone who was there really walked away with something. So thanks to all of you.
They were still lining up at the end of the event to get trolley rides out in the parking lot. So it was pretty nifty when I was there, and I saw the line waiting to get on the trolley. So that was pretty.
Did anybody go to the historic home garden show, or did they? Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always difficult for me to get used to a trolley that's on tires. My grandfather drove a streetcar in Pittsburgh for 35 years, and during the summertime he would take us them about once every summer, and we'd pack a lunch, and he'd pull off to the side rail. We'd have our lunch. He'd go back to business, and those were the good old days. But I know folks enjoy the trolley experience.
Can I comment on that transportation center for a moment?
Sure.
I don't want to hijack your report, but
No, go right ahead.
We are all hijacking his report.
It bears discussion because we've been criticized for that center because of transportation issues. Let me point out that we were able to drag back 90% of the cost of that from federal funding. Back in the good old days of pork barrel projects. If you didn't have a project, that money went to some other community that had a project. That building was falling down, decaying, falling over. The fields were rotted over there, overgrown, overrun with debris. There was a half-assed auto shop in one end of it with grease pits. It was a mess. Quite frankly, it probably should have been torn down. All right? And through tireless efforts and of a former commissioner who I swore gave me that project just to make my life miserable, right? We were able to cobble together, various federal funds and match them locally with 10%, in some respects less than 10%.
A lot of it was just the purchase of the building, original
Building,
purchase
we were
was
matching with the
match.
building cost and the land cost. And then when the library had bought all those buildings up on Broad Street for their library, and that project failed originally, which I tip my hat to the Mayor Brenda bringing the library project back downtown. They have a really nice site, and she's put that together there. You see, I do say nice things about Elyria when they do nice things. But that originally it was supposed to be where our parking lot is up on Broad there. And that project fell apart. We bailed them out of that land over there and bought that land from them to put those parking lots up there with federal matching dollars. We put those parking lots in. They weren't originally part of the transportation center in the back. So in order to get them out of that mess they bought their way into 20 years ago, I went to the Fed and said, we need additional parking to support this center. Can I get additional dollars and put in more parking lots? And we received federal money for those parking lots and purchased that land from the city and used it. We purchased the land and used it against federal dollars for the whole project.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Time and time again, we used that.
there's about 10% county money in that whole build over there.
And it's fabulous.
And we got some ODOT money that brought that 10% down in some respects. Back then, we weren't getting turnpike credits, toll credits. If we had been getting some of those in those days, we probably could have reduced that cost even further. But people look at that, and we've been criticized because it's not being used really as a transportation hub. But I will tell you, you had to find federal projects back in the 2000s and the 90s.
Right.
Or that money went to another community that found a project like that to do, and your community got nothing.
That's right.
Now, they don't really do earmarks anymore, although they're sneaking back in here and there. And the state's doing it too with what do they call it now? Capital projects. So the state's
budget
back
bill.
at it in December
Sure.
with their little projects. And
Sure.
I'm sure the federal government's going to get back into it. That you see now, they're not calling them earmarks, but they're set-asides and things like that. So that was our project, to bring money that is paid by residents here in federal taxes to bring it back to do projects in the community. You see one down at Black River Landing, you don't see anybody complaining about their train station.
Yeah.
Right?
They'll never get a train.
They'll never get a train. I think they went and pried up a piece of track somewhere and went down there and threw it on the ground down there and called it a train station, and they built the Black River Landing down there. God bless them. But that whole building down there was built as an intermodal transportation train station. Okay? Don't choke, please. but that's where that's where that money came from.
Yep.
And you don't hear anybody beating them up over it. And so some of the criticisms are unwarranted. That federal money came back to our community and provided a resource to this community, and it's still providing a resource. We're trying to make it work as best we can. And all through we had a lot of hard time because they wanted the train there, and we did the best we could, but we still have a significant resource for the community to use there, and we try to make it as supporting as we can by leasing it out and having events there so we can pay the bills for heating and lighting and maintenance there, and Sandy works real hard at that right now out of my office for that. So a lot of the criticisms is pretty well unfounded, and sometimes it's a little hard to take. 90+% federal monies. I know it's still taxpayers' money, but if it didn't come here, let me repeat it, I don't want to be redundant, it would have been someplace else.
Sure. That's what happened with $400 million that Kasich wasn't willing to invest in Ohio infrastructure as it related to rails, so it all went back. I think it went to Wisconsin, so we lost all that money. But Sherrod Brown, I know, played a major role in bringing those dollars in and earmarked. And I think I told you when I was in Columbus, we had another stimulus initiative that came forward, and we were surprised to find out about an old earmark. I remember calling Mayor Dave Gillock and saying, you got a quiet zone at one of your tracks, and we have some money. I thought it was Root Road, or
I thought it was. Did they do the 58 separation with some of that money on the quiet zone, or Root Road? They did the double gating over there. I know that.
Yeah, it was over on Root Road, and I said, yeah, we got some stimulus money for you, and he was all excited. Then I told him what it was for, and he said, where did that come from? And I said it was an old federal earmark that we matched with some state dollars, and we were able to get it done. But the bottom line is, I know people always talk about pork being a bad thing, but in reality, if you don't take the money or try to collect the money, then it goes someplace else. It goes to another community, and so you have every right to try to get those dollars back. And the last thing you ever want to be is a donor state or a donor county or a donor state, because you don't want more dollars going to the feds and going to the state than actually comes back. But that happens so often with the way things are structured these days. So, and also on the topic of transit, this board has tried multiple times to garner community support. I think, as we were talking about earlier, trying to compare to an earlier levy that we had with transit that I think amounted to, what, $3 a year or something?
Yeah, $2, I think.
$2 or $3 a year.
$2 a household.
And couldn't even get that passed at the time. But hopefully we'll arrive at the day where we'll eventually garner the support so we can beef up transit. And somebody who grew up, because my mom didn't drive, jumping on streetcars and buses, I mean, I saw how it worked firsthand. It works really well, but you've got to have the resources to get it done. I was unable to make the scholarship dinner last night for 4-H. I know that, Sharon, you were able to be there, and just have always enjoyed going to those in the past. Apologize, was not able to make it, but it was really cool to always see these students and these future community leaders recognized for their achievement. And looking forward very much to the Best of Lorain County tomorrow at Lorain County Community College. That completes my report with all the help that I got today. Thank you. Thank you for all the contributors.
Yeah. Anytime. Can you take change? Can you take change?
Well, last week we had another follow-up meeting for our Keep Lorain County Beautiful cigarette litter grant meeting. We have identified most of the locations, the receptacles. These are very interesting because some of them are stand-up, but you're also going to see locations where they're going to be attached to telephone poles. And part of the concern is that we get a good label on them so people identify what they are. The receptacles that we're selecting will have a closed or a small enough mouth on it so that they can't get stuffed with garbage and litter. They're designed strictly for cigarette litter, and it's recyclable. So the company will provide boxes, shipping labels, and the equipment to send it back, get it recycled, and we get credit for it. So we're excited to see that. Part of the grant requirement was it had to be on a project that touched or influenced a waterway. So that's where they're going to start initially. But I think that they may gain popularity in most of the downtown districts because it will clearly clean up the cigarette litter once they become habit and routine to use.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
Well, I quit smoking.
Please.
This coming month, August, will be 10 years for me.
Nice. So
but
you don't get to use these.
I don't need to use them, but I did learn when we first did the first campaign of that and when you were talking about waterways, if a bird or a fish swallows a cigarette butt, they don't eat, they feel full, so then they die because they don't eat anymore. So that's one of the reasons I think going into a waterway is very important.
Right,
Maybe I
and
should
it
swallow a few
contaminates
for a
the,
What a way to lose some weight, right? Let's all start eating
it also
cigarette butts.
contaminates our water source.
And that too, yeah.
So that's another thing.
This has been a long meeting.
You get to do the minutes of it too.
I don't do
Enjoy it
verbatim
twice.
anymore. I learned a long time ago. He said, she said. Boop.
Okay.
So I had a planning commission meeting last week as well, and as Mr. Cordes said, there is tremendous interest and potential growth on the horizon. We're anticipating a lot of new construction sites, which will be nice. Friday was the Lagrange Lions Parade. There was a good turnout. It was a little warm, but wasn't a long parade, just a nice turnout, and they had it launches their festival, which followed. That's a nice venue there. The Lorain County Dog Days Saturday, but also there was the Taste of the South over at South Park in Elyria. That was a nice event. I never saw so many basketball players out on hot black top before. Sunday's Transportation Open House, again, a thank you to everybody who assisted. Later Sunday, there was the Lorraine Senior Center picnic over in Lorraine at the center off of Garfield. It was pretty hot out, but there was good food, and I heard there was cold beer. So I just stayed with the food. I want to thank Keith Reynolds for the nice feature on my 6-month recap last week. I've had so many nice comments from that. And Sherry Klauser came in yesterday. We filmed a little vignette for the Adult Probation Department film. They've been nominated for the Cliff Skeen Award, which is based upon best practices that are determined and identified through their audits. And while they were a previous winner before, they're in the running again this year. So we're wishing you a lot of luck with that. We hope we are a second-time winner. I want to mention that the bike shop that was opened in the Ron Nabokowski building that's being used by the youth in Lorain there, they're doing the repairs. They're learning how to work on bikes. It is open. Nominal fee to take a bicycle there for a repair, and it's keeping those youngsters busy as well as productive. Last evening was the 4-H scholarship night. And they awarded thousands of dollars to the deserving seniors and grads last night. 4-H is America's largest youth building organization, and the skills that they teach them on citizenship, on hands-on training in a lot of fields, and their agricultural background just make the 4-H a really solid organization at a time when our youth are being pulled in so many directions, where parents and teachers are competing for screen time with young adults. The 4-H is getting them involved and keeping them active. So it was nice to be out there last night. For consumers, the Ohio Attorney General has a search feature now on their website to determine if there are pending lawsuits against vendors. This is a valuable resource if you are, again, having somebody come repair a roof, somebody seal a basement. You may want to check that site. And finally, to conclude my report, I want to wish a big happy birthday to Joe G., who's with us today. He and Rose are such strong supporters of our community. And happy birthday. Thanks for spending it with us.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
That concludes my report.
I did forget to put under my report, not that y'all care, but Monday you have your viewing for Grafton.
Can't wait.
Ditch in Eaton Township at 9:30.
Okay.
And then on Tuesday,
you
we
to
do
fill in,
have
Jenny.
our second public hearing on subdivision regulations, and then maybe not, except the reports for Grafton Road and Mapleview Ditch
And that's on Tuesday?
on Tuesday the 6th, yes.
Did we get any precursor on the report from Mapleview yet?
Field trip. My first field trip.
Oh, wear boots.
Yeah, we have nothing at this point. Board correspondence?
I would move that the reading be waived.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
Okay, seeing no other business at this time, I would move that we go into executive session for the reasons stated by the county administrator and the assistant county prosecutor.
Second.
Mr. Lundy.
Aye.
Ms. Kowski.
Aye.
Ms. Sueda.
Aye.
This has been a broadcast of the recent Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Wednesday morning at 9:30 at the Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and you are invited to attend. Agendas are posted prior to the meeting at www.loraincounty.us. Click on Departments to see the Commissioners page, then click on View Agenda for a printable copy of the agenda.